Welcome everyone back to Driving and Dragons. I'm here with another D&D Reacts. Continuing along with old Guildmaster Dan and the D&D Reacts / alignment and TTRPGs videos where I'm responding to his alignment takes. Now, while you're here, hit the like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you hadn't. Let's do all the free stuff to try and push this along into the greater, what's the word I'm looking for? The greater consciousness of the TTRPG sphere. And if you haven't got one yet, grab a copy of Corvid Codex Volume 1. It's fantastic. The stories in it are the kind of stuff that got us all into these games and can truly enhance your experience. We're talking about the kind of stuff that Appendix N was built on, written by people that you interact with on a daily basis on social media, in the TTRPG world, other people you see on various streams and various feeds and panel shows and YouTube channels. So it's your chance to give a little bit back to them as they try to give a little bit more to you. Other than that, guys, Patreon, channel memberships, all that stuff feeds into what I do here on the channel to try and give a little bit back to our fellows in the TTRPG world. For those who do not know, every penny that comes into this channel from Super Chats, Patreon, membership programs, all that stuff, it all goes into trying to bring vehicles in for me to work on to develop into, cool project cars that when they're finished, I can turn around and give to members of the TTRPG community who are maybe running a little down on their luck. Basically, what it is it's people who were nominated by you guys to be able to win the car. So it's all one big charity work just for me to be able to sit here and talk to you guys about gaming and maybe do a little good in the meantime. But anyway, if you want to be a part of that, you know how to do it. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure others will greatly appreciate it one day. I'd love the support. And if you have some friends who haven't subscribed, get them to go ahead and click that subscribe button and join the fun here. While you're at it, drop down in the comments and let me know what you've got going on down there, because we have great conversations here. We have people who are respectful, who trade insight back and forth. And who knows, you may find an answer to a question that you had sticking in the back of your head for years, and your life gets improved just a little bit because, not even because of me, but because somebody else drops down there and has something to say in the comments, be it one of the many game designers that I've worked with or interviewed here on the channel, or other YouTubers or other people who've got a tremendous amount of experience that I've gotten to meet and associate with through this channel. They hop down in the comments and say stuff all the time. So you might find an answer you didn't to a question you didn't even know you had. Anyway, we're going to continue here. He's talking about lawful good, and he'll be talking about lawful evil next. And if you're a channel member, you'll get lawful evil today too. But anyway, he's talking about lawful good, and we're going to see how it goes here, because so far he's been pretty close to me. I haven't 100% agreed with some of his examples and some of the stuff he's got going on there, but we're about to find out how close we hit on lawful good, because I think lawful good may be the easiest alignment for most of us to approach this with any kind of analytical thought. So let's see what happens. Didn't really get a good one that time, but I did see that Neo is in the neutral good category. I'm not so sure about that one evil either. I'm not even so sure that Neo is good. He's just against the machine.
The time has come, my friends, to discuss what it means to be lawful good. Now, I did talk about it a little bit on the fourth wall in my Handling Paladins episode, but we're here to take a closer look at the alignment this time. Many gamers don't even think it's worth it to be discussing this alignment. That is clear-cut. That is the realm of the White Hats, or the Knights of Justice. Yet, as we saw with its polar opposite, it can easily be misconstrued. The usual interpretation is that characters who are lawful good are Boy Scouts. They are devout to the law of the land or to the dictates of their dogma. Further, they are stiff-backed, killjoy mother figures who will not suffer those who won't finish their vegetables before their dessert. If you haven't guessed the pattern yet, this is a limited scope of the alignment. Remember, we're dealing with principled characters who are selfless. A lawful character does not inherently believe in the law. They believe in their principles. They have a code of honor or a discipline to their lives, and they hold themselves accountable to their actions. What often helps dictate these principles is the fact that these characters are selfless. They think of the rights and the feelings of others rather than their own. This is what drives them to protect others who can't protect themselves, or to never harm without reason. A lawful good character can be a rebel or a blasphemer. Granted, you will most likely see this in the face of corruption, but principles do not always align with the law. Now, not to call Jaime Lannister lawful good, but take the fact that he betrayed his oath as a Kingsguard and slew his king. Now, let's replace him with a different character in that time. Let's say Ned Stark.
I realize I'm cheating with the examples here.
And this could have been the act of a principled, selfless character.
I don't really think he is. I think the entire purpose of Game of Thrones is that basically they're all morally gray muck. Virtually every character in Game of Thrones is chaotic evil. But he's kind of off the rails a little bit here on Lawful Good so far. I'm going to let him continue here, but he's already kind of getting into the kind of dicey territory of really trying to, I guess you could say, excuse or trying to make exceptions to allow chaotic or lawful good characters to act in non-lawful good ways on a consistent basis and still somehow say they're lawful good. Basically kind of this is what my motivation was. So me really doing all this stupid bad shit over here, or me, tearing down society and throwing the baby out with the bathwater is somehow justified. But I'm going to go ahead and let him kind of finish, because who knows, maybe he'll bring it back around. He's been pretty good so far with most of this alignment stuff, so I don't think he's going to be this far off base the entire video.
A lawful good character would stop their sadistic king from harming others, even if it meant betraying his or her oath. They are betraying the law, but they are keeping true to their principles. Now that I've given a quasi-example of a lawful good character, why don't we go ahead and get to the real deal? Our first example had a simple upbringing, which has led him in his adult life to strive to be a man that his adoptive family can be proud of. Living for truth, justice, and more often than not, the American way, our first example is Goku. No, I'm kidding, it's Superman.
Though Goku's not bad either.
The last of his kind, the Man of Steel is a god amongst men. And that's not just to say that he's powerful, no. Clark Kent is a man who sees the imperfect world around him. The violence, the lying, the cheating, the degradation, everything that makes humanity the flawed and self-destructive race it can be. And he fights for us anyway. Superman believes we are capable of being better than we are. Even beyond his belief in love, kindness, and honor, he believes in the human spirit. That's something that many of us who have seen the worst of us can't claim to still believe in. Yet, despite being able to hear pretty much every crime and atrocity committed on Earth, he puts his life on the line to protect us because he believes in us. And that is why Superman is principled. He loves humanity like a father loves a troubled son. Now, the reason that he is good comes from that life on the line part. The last son of Krypton is the most powerful being on Earth, and he knows it, yet he chooses to serve. More importantly, he remains here to do so. Superman could easily leave to find those more like himself, but he actually cares about the people here, so he remains here for our sake. Superman is rightly identified as the example of a lawful good character, but there's no doubt that he is more than human, both physically and ethically. For our unexpected example, I chose some...
Yeah, Superman is actually a very good example of lawful good. For instance, unlike Batman, Superman, for the most part of his history, wasn't going to kill. And a big part of it was because he lost any ability to hold any kind of moral authority or high ground by doing so, because anytime Superman always has the ability to take care of the problem without killing the person because he's so much more powerful. So therefore he has an obligation to do so. And if he were to take advantage of the fact that he's so powerful, nobody could do anything about it. If he did chose to kill somebody, that would cause that inherently is him going beyond and him violating those social norms that he sees that are important. So basically it's kind of a by example thing. If Superman, because he's so powerful, goes beyond, then that it basically is giving permission to others to do the same thing. The only reason I'm not allowed to go far beyond and to break these rules and to kill people and that sort of thing is because I'm not powerful enough like Superman is, but maybe I am in this situation. He looks at it and he says, yes, I could solve this problem better. I could solve this problem of Lex Luthor better simply by killing him, but I'm not going to, because if I, this most powerful being in the world, hold myself to these laws, everyone else sees that they need to hold themselves to these societal strictures, and thus everybody is better off. That is the essence of lawful good. We even get to see what happens when Superman decides, and this is one of the little comic book things I do know, is there's a comic book timeline called Injustice Gods Among Us, where Superman pushes beyond the Joker kills Lois Lane, and Superman snaps and kills the Joker and just becomes an evil, tyrannical fascist who flies around and just, basically make sure it's never going to happen again through pure force, and takes away everyone's freedom and everything and becomes essentially lawful evil. And because it's his hurt, his pain, his need that is now the driving focus, that he is going to stop everything and you're going to give him what he wants, as opposed to lawful good Superman, who artificially restricts himself to these rules because he sees it as better for everyone as a whole. He is sacrificing himself to serve the rest.
Someone who's a bit more relatable, at least on an emotional level. Our second example is someone who has every right to be angry at the world, and has a penchant for taking the law into his own hands. Because of this, he tends to be placed in either chaotic or at least neutral good. However, a great example of a lawful good character is without a doubt Batman. Yes, Batman. What? Did you think I'd pull that red herring trick twice? Now, many people have written Batman, and some have written him more, we'll say, cruel than others. So to placate the fans of those writers, I will clarify and say that I'm talking about the Batman of the DC animated universe. You can retroactively assume the same of Superman. How can someone so vindictive who regularly engages in vigilantism be considered lawful? Because he's principled. Seriously, have you guys been paying attention? It is true that the Dark Knight is willing to put Gotham's psychopaths into body casts. However, there are two things that will always separate him from those he hunts: his value for human life and his refusal to use guns. Batman does not kill. Further, he will put his life on the line to save even a criminal if their life is in danger. Bruce Wayne knows what death does to people, specifically to loved ones and to oneself. He will save a mugger's life because he recognizes that that man probably has a family, and he will never kill the Joker because to do so is to become like the Joker. Likewise,
just adding on, I probably should just let him finish, but adding on to the point there, and I am glad that he clarified there, because as I stated in one of the previous videos here, Batman has been written quite a few different ways, and his whole Batman doesn't kill thing has been radically different. Batman is definitely lawful good. Everything he does is to sacrifice to service others. Everything he does is to make things better for other people. He could very easily just go be a billionaire and enjoy his life. But he dedicates himself, even if he does have a vengeance motivation. I would even say that Batman's vengeance motivation isn't even accurate anymore. He's not necessarily, he may have started out of vengeance, but what it evolved into is a burning need to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else as best he can. And he constantly protects the social order and society of Gotham City for the purpose of it serving as many people as possible. And then just like Superman, the whole thing is that if he kills people just because he can get away with it and it's easier, that is a line he's crossing, because now he has become a hypocrite who is not living within that order. He's crossed a line that goes beyond simply, well, maybe there's some laws on the books I'm breaking, but in principle, using Mr. Dan's term here, in principle, he is still serving the laws of that society and that social order. Once he starts killing people because it's easier and because he can get away with it, now he has crossed into a realm of hypocrisy that removes him from truly upholding that society.
Wayne refuses to use a gun because it represents everything that he's trying to change about the world. A gun was used to kill his parents, and because of that, he works every night to make sure that the same doesn't happen to any other child who's trying to come home from the movies. The second principle is actually directly tied to what makes Batman selfless. Bruce Wayne has taken on the mantle of Batman, not because he wants revenge or because it makes him feel free. He has become Batman because it is the best tool he can think to use to protect innocents from the thugs and psychos of Gotham. Whether there are better uses for his resources is irrelevant. He believes what he is doing is right, and he does it for the sake of others. Batman is principled selfless, or lawful good.
Yeah, I probably should have let him go ahead and finish that, because he more or less just turned around and said the same thing I just said. And that is exactly why, at least in this regard, Batman would very much be a lawful good character. It's what makes him heroic, is that this is self-sacrifice for the good of the whole, and understanding that the structures of society and the traditions and structure and the traditions and stuff that are in place and those social norms have a place that matter, that do the most good for the most people, and therefore they have to be maintained intact. And if he steps out of them to the degree of, say, killing people because he knows he can get away with it and that sort of thing, he knows that that does irreparable damage to the whole.
So what can we learn about the alignment from these two men? Well, primarily that being lawful has nothing to do with following or upholding the law. Both are without a doubt selfless good men, yet they both have very different MOs. While Superman does his best to work within the laws of man in order to keep himself humble, Batman works outside of them in order to accomplish what they can't. Also, while Superman meets the chisel-jawed stereotype often associated with this alignment, Batman is dark, exacting, and has a realistic worldview. Batman also isn't the type to scold you about committing a crime. He will simply act to prevent you from harming others.
I am going to say this. He does kind of, once again, steps a little bit out of the colors outside the lines here. It's not that it has nothing to do with following the laws. It has to do with social orders, traditions, and structures. Batman supplements the law by handling things that the law cannot. Because in order for the law and the societal strictures to handle things like Scarecrow and Joker and Two-Face and Mr. Freeze and that sort of thing, would mean that they would have to take those laws to a level that no longer promotes the society for the rest of them. Because now we're taking random thug who robbed somebody in an alley and executing them, or doing whatever else is necessary to keep these supervillains, so to speak, under control. So Batman is supplementing that law. He's not going to go treat random thug in the street that he runs across the same as the Joker. And also at the same time, he's not generally going to go hunt down random thug on the street. He's going to go out there and he's going to pay attention and he's going to stop it when he sees it. But, if the Joker is taking apart Gotham, he's not worrying himself with hunting down regular thugs at that point. He's focused on the Joker because that's what he's there for.
As I said earlier, I talked about this some in my Handling Paladins episode. If you'd like to hear more about what it takes to make a good principled selfless character, or just to hear more examples of them, go ahead and check it out here. For now, it's time that we move on and see what happens when a principled character acts primarily in self-interest. So next time, we'll be taking a look at what it means to be lawful evil.
Okay. So yeah, next one up is going to be Lawful Evil, which is, like I said, if you remember, you already got it. But that one will be fun. Lawful Evil, I think, is another one that kind of falls into the easy category. It's really funny because here's the thing. It's easier for people in general, especially people who don't pay attention or care that much about it, to grasp morality. Morality is a lot more black and white and a lot less nuanced than ethics, which is why people tend to struggle more with law and chaos versus good and evil. But the funny thing about it is that lawful still remains the easiest of the ethical axis to understand because it is more rigid. But anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and close it up now. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. See you guys when Lawful Evil comes around.